All right, that's better. There we go. All right. So, welcome to 90 and Out, Building for the Kingdom one brick at a time. This is the June live stream, first Thursday of the month, where I build Lego sets and talk about seminary. First semester, spring semester is over. The history of the Christian church, that class is done. So we can talk about that and let you know what grade I got and my overall thoughts. The other side of this is we're going to talk about the class for the summer. It's 2 months long, it's 8 weeks, and what that is, my impressions of that, as well as a few other things. If you would like to support this channel and what we do here at 90 and Out, here on Rumble, as well as YouTube and Facebook, go ahead, hit it in the comments. You can do rants, you can hit up the links in the description. If you're interested in seminary, and especially an online seminary, check out Spirit and Life Seminary. They do not endorse this channel and have not sponsored us. This is not paid content or anything like that. I'm simply a student pursuing seminary with them, and as such, I want to give them a little bit of exposure. If you can hear me all right and volume's good, let me know that in the comments. If you are watching, love to hear from you. So the overall purpose of this live stream series is to engage with you, the audience, in real time, as well as do something I enjoy. Two things I enjoy: one, talking about the Bible and theology, and two, building with Lego bricks. So you can check out the survey questionnaire that I have on our YouTube channel, 90 and Out at YouTube. With that, each month, where you can vote on which sets I build. So this month's options were the Lego City Dual Police Car and Spaceship, the Disney Encanto, Isabela's Flowerpot, the Springtime Playset, which is down here, and then the last one is that right there. It is a bigger set. It is the Police Prison Island. So those were the four options for this month. And last time I looked, both on Facebook, 90 and Out, on Facebook as well as on YouTube, it was a unanimous vote, which is kind of interesting. Unanimous vote. However, before I unveil which one I'm going to be building, I also want to say another way you can support this channel is by hitting that shop button down below. You can hit that shop button. It will link to our Sticker Mule shop, where you can buy some merch, keychains, t-shirts, that kind of thing. So if you'd like to do that, go ahead and do that as well. All right, let's get to it. Which one do you guys think it's going to be? Is it going to be the two smaller sets from Lego City, the Springtime Fun 3-pack, the big Police Island, which I think looks pretty cool, or the Flowerpot? Well, before we get to it, little shout outs to some of the other build sets that we've already got. We've got the Agrabah Palace right there. We've got King Magnifico's castle, a Ninjago set, a couple of those, right? The Super Mario Brothers down there, you can barely see it. And it's going to be this one, right here. Unanimous votes by you, the viewers, to build this Flowerpot set. I'm looking forward to it. It looks like a pretty interesting set. When I first saw it, I thought maybe it was just, some basic flowers. But with a piece count of 641, there's got to be more going on here than just a pot and some Lego flowers going off. And flipped it over. Sure enough, it's pretty much like a little apartment inside the flower pot, and it swings open. So that's going to be pretty cool. Full disclosure, Disney probably doesn't even know this channel exists, let alone sends money my way. They definitely do not. So copyrights, all that stuff, they belong to the original owners. Not paid content. But this does look like a pretty fun build set to do. I have not watched the movie Encanto. That this is a movie tie-in for. I have not watched it. if you have some insight as to context for this flower pot and the sleeping quarters is within it, go ahead, hit me up in the comments. Let me know the significance and context of that. All right. So with that, let's crack this box open and get started. All right, let's get started. Looks like we're going to be starting with a minifigure. So let's get that going. She's got some pretty cool flowing hair right there. That's cool. What other pieces we got? Looking for the torso. There we go. And a flower. So I will say one thing about these minifigures versus these are more of the Lego Friends style model, and I've mentioned it before. They look really nice, but as far as like playability is concerned, I don't like how the legs don't move individually. It's definitely more of a dress, and the hands don't adjust either. So there's definitely more articulation with the traditional Lego minifigure versus these Lego Friends style. But hey, it's the way it goes. And then it says we've got a flower here we're looking for. So is it this one? Yeah, it's that one right there. There we go. I do like the flowing hair though. That's pretty cool. That is, it gives this like illusion of movement. So that is pretty neat. I do like that. Set that off to the side here. All right. So as I get started, history of the Christian Church at Spirit and Life Seminary has concluded with the semester. Very happy with how it went overall. The interface was nice, convenient. The professor, Dr. Tim Harper, was good. No complaints there. Gave him a good review with the coursework. The final paper is something I'm going to discuss, though, for this first hour. The final paper, there was some things I could gripe about. There always is with any research paper. The assignment was a minimum of 5 pages in Turabian style research paper on a major figure from Christian history. And that leaves a lot to interpretation. Let's be honest, it does, right? Define major, right? Find figure. All those terms need to be well defined. And who better to rely on for those definitions than the dictionary guy himself, Noah Webster. And that's exactly who I wrote my paper on. At first, I think Dr. Harper was hesitant on whether or not Noah Webster would meet the requirements of being a major figure in church history. However, I think he definitely meets those requirements. Even if he's most known for something that does not at first glance appear to be directly linked with Christian history, and that is his dictionary. So in the last stream, I mentioned some of that going on. I'm happy to report that I got a solid B on that paper. However, most of the points deducted were from formatting issues. So improper formatting, I'm okay with that. No complaints there. The actual body of the work, the content of the work, he had very little to say as far as deduction of points are concerned. All right, so interesting. These are clearly pink, right? And the instructions show the little flower pieces to be the same color, but these are clearly orange. They are not the same color. And there are definitely not pink ones. So I guess it's gonna be orange. If you're familiar with Lego at all, this probably doesn't come as a surprise that sometimes this happens, where they're just not the right color. They're the right piece, but not the right color. And I think that's the case here. They're meant to be the same color, pink, but they're in fact orange. You can really see the difference in those colors right there, right? I'm going to keep going. I might mention it to Lego, see what they say. Their customer service is usually pretty good on these kind of things. Or the instructions just don't show the difference in color well. That's also a possibility. Whatever the case may be, it's not a huge deal. So, all right. So back to Noah Webster. Noah Webster, excuse me, I think is a major figure in church history, especially in the 19th century. So Noah Webster is almost single-handedly credited with creating a uniform modern English language. Excuse me. The Blueback Speller is arguably one of his more famous works, besides the dictionary itself. And the Blueback Speller is interesting for a number of reasons. One of those reasons is it quotes the King James Bible fairly often. He quotes the King James Bible often. He had a life mission to uniform the language in order to propagate Christianity. There is no divorcing his work with the dictionary or the Blueback Speller or from his desire to propagate Christianity and evangelize lost. There just isn't, with any reasonability of honesty. Okay. That would be like claiming Bach was not Lutheran. All right, it's not reality. Bach was Lutheran. Noah Webster was Christian. Specifically, he was a Congregationalist. But you can't divorce the fact that he was a devout Christian who desired to evangelize the lost, period. And he did that through being an expert linguist. However, overall, I'm very happy with the class. I ended the class with an A-. Went very well. No complaints at all. And thank you, Dr. Harper, for all of your work. If you are watching, shout out to Dr. Harper. Very, very happy with his professorship. So I don't have a movie reference at all for this build. So, hey, we're at our first sticker. It's going to be the lanterns. Problem with stickers. Lining them up. There we go. Oh, I think I did that backwards. I did. I put that entire piece on backwards. There, that's better. So, have you, if you're watching, have you seen Encanto? Have you seen the Disney movie? It's not really, from what I gather, meant for my demographic. I'm in my mid-40s. I have two daughters. One is a older teenager, almost 20, and the other is in her mid-20s. So probably not the demographic for Encanto. It definitely, from the previews, if I remember correctly, looked like it was catering to the older girl population, like the Disney princess age. So I have not seen it. I haven't had a desire to see it because I don't think it interests me. Do you like it? If you've seen it, let me know if you like it. What were your thoughts on the movie? And specifically, this is Isabela's Flowerpot. Let me know if what the reference is there. Like, does she live in a flower pot? We have another sticker here. It says we're going to make 2 of these. So let's go ahead and make the other one then as well. Here. That goes like that. All right, there we go. All right, I see we have some new viewers popping in. If you are new to Spirit and to 90 and out, building for the kingdom one brick at a time, I build a Lego set that's picked by the viewers each month. This particular set is the Isabela's Flowerpot by Disney Encanto movie tie-in. And I talk about seminary and other biblical studies stuff. So if you want to say hi in the comments, I'd appreciate it. Greatly appreciate conversation in the comments. Go ahead and say hi and talk to me there. Let's see, pretty cool sub build here. There, that is pretty cool. It'll stay on. There we go. And then these lock it into place. So for the first half hour, I talked about Noah Webster being my the subject for my final research paper for in History of the Christian Church with Dr. Tim Harper. He did a nice job, all right, and I did well overall. Finished the class with an A-, which is pretty good. So it says here I need a flat piece. There it is. And another sticker. It looks like a curtain, maybe? I kind of like these stickers, but oh, shoot. Wrong sticker. So this one's the right sticker, but those two are the wrong stickers. Whoops. I was supposed to use those stickers. Instead, I used these like paint spot stickers. We'll see how important that is later in the build. We may have to redo the stickers or just roll with it. I'm thinking roll with it. All right. This is an interesting build. We're a half hour into this build and I'm not through the first bag yet. So yeah. All right, that is piece number 3 for dropping. Usually it's these round pieces that I'll drop. That's pretty common for me to drop. Go. That's going to sit like that. Oh, these are backwards too. We'll fix that. That's not a huge deal. We can fix that. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. All right. There, that looks better. Well, that looks like a good spot to talk about the build right there. All right, so that took me about a half hour. Check that out. Pretty cool sticker placement, even if my vertical ones are the wrong stickers. I like the use of the telescope or monocle. I think that piece was originally designed for the Lego Pirates series as a spyglass for the pirates. This looks like a bed. That's kind of neat how it looks like a bed. Maybe a little mat under there. Yeah, pretty cool. Starting to get the shape of the pot, the flower pot itself. So let's keep going. So with anything, any of these builds, it's my first time building them. So you're building it, first time building. As such, there's definitely some distinct learning curve elements to the build. So okay. And with some sets, the age expectation is makes a difference too. So if it's a lower age, the instructions are going to be a lot more detailed than older age expectations. So where's the box here? This one is a 9+. This one is rated 9 years and up, so the instructions are going to expect some basic problem solving skills involved, like with this. So if you looked at the instructions here, it just says the number of pieces, and then, hey, it's expecting you to be able to reasonably fill it in and make it look right. And then it goes right there at the front, so that's pretty cool. I think we're going to have half of the pot done with bag one, it looks like. And it looks like we're going to continue to make the sides here. Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. Might be a little bit different, but it's definitely looking like a side. Yeah, we're going to be doing the same thing for our other two sides. Not a problem to make our pot. That's pretty cool. Design element there. Oh, that's, yeah. So this one is the opposite setup, so they intertwine, so that's pretty neat. And it's going to go right there, and you can see how they link together. So to create that illusion of depth and being circular. If it's going to actually fit on there, snap on. There we go, that's good. We'll put that one back in. They're not lined up exactly perfect. That does matter on this kind of set technique, but that is a pretty cool technique. Gotta admit that. Let's go ahead and add this one for our other one. Also, something that in these live streams, kind of a running thing is how many extra pieces is Lego going to give us. Lego has a habit of adding a few extra pieces per set, simply to help ensure that you get all of the pieces. So usually they're small pieces, not big major ones, but relatively small ones. Oh, perfect! Look at that. That looks cool. That looks like half of a flower pot. Yeah. Oh, we're not quite done yet with this build, so cool, cool. I think, is this going to be a hinge piece? Maybe. I'm not sure. Let's find out. I've got to hand it to the Lego creators, the master builders, for creativity. It takes a lot of creativity to come up with these sets. So this one is going on this side. Oh, okay. So it's going to be to finish off our other hinge piece here, opposite the hinge. So right there. That works. Cool. What else we got? And then a little flower. That's it? Okay. All right. Right there. Yeah, and now we're on bag 2. So 40 minutes into the stream, we've got half of the pot itself built. I'm going to guess that bag 2 is going to be the other half of the pot, and then probably bag 3 and 4 is going to finish it off with the flowers. But we do have a series of extra pieces. They may or may not be needed later on, so we're going to set them off to the side. All right, this is all of bag 2. So let's get started building bag 2. I'm going to leave that off to the side so you guys can see it. If this is a good angle for you to see what I'm working on, let me know. All right. We're going to adjust some of my screen here. There we go. Now I can see a little bit better for you. All right. So as I was saying, if this is good, so you can see the build well, let me know. And all right. So let's get right into it with bag 2. We've got a bunch of little pieces in bag 2, it looks like. Yeah, should be a lot of fun. I'm going out on a limb and going to say we're going to build the other half of this flower pot section with bag 2. Bag 1 gave a good idea of like the thought process and creativity behind the build. And if you've seen the other streams or you're familiar with Lego at all, you'll know that usually by the time you get about halfway through or so of the build, you get a good idea of what the designer was going for in like the process. And the second half tends to go a lot faster than the first half. First half is definitely getting your teeth, cutting your teeth or getting your feet wet kind of thing. If you are logging in and watching, let me know how you came across the stream. Did you come across it on the Lego by searching for Lego stuff, seminary stuff? Was it just, one of your suggested feeds? Let me know. Love to hear from you on how you came across it. Also, comments. Comments would be great. Okay? Please comment. Let me know who you are. There we go. Love to hear from you. Yeah, okay. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the printing in the book, the color is off on these flower pieces, because these little flower pieces are definitely orange. They're all orange. However, the book shows them the same color as these pieces, which are definitely a pink, a magenta. And that's a little bit confusing to somebody who would be new to Lego on that. So I'm going to say it's a printing issue with not the picker, the Lego picker, but with the instruction manual printing, distinguishing those two different colors. I don't think it's a mistake on which piece got picked for it. I think it's more of a limitation to the colors being printed and distinguishing those colors in the printing itself. But yeah. If you are new to Lego, let me know that. If you're logging in more for the seminary aspect, let me know that too. But my thought process with building for the kingdom one brick at a time is pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. I enjoy building with Legos. I enjoy talking about theology and Bible study and Christianity. So it's reasonable for me to want to do both. That's it. Also, I've been building with Lego for many, many, many years. When my boys were little, we played with Lego as a family. Definitely enjoying it as a family. Two of my sons built roller coasters. The oldest one used Lego as kind of a quirk, if you will, where my second son, he built the entire Lego roller coaster using Lego bricks. It was super fun, engaging. He designed it. We built it together. That was, well, over a decade ago now, or about a decade ago now. Wow, how time flies. Whew, I feel old. But hey, that's the way it goes. Lego has been around since I think the 1960s or 70s, before my time. And I just enjoy it. Looking for those purple pieces. Gotta be blind. Not those. Those right there. There we go. Yep, same type of design for our hinge mechanism, it looks like, and the vertical pot pieces. Yep. Yes, sirree. And so these pieces are the ones I was talking about. I think they were originally designed as the spyglass for Lego Pirates back in like the 80s or 90s. It's been a long time, but they work really well for creating vertical pillars and intrigue of that nature. So really cool repurposing there. All right. Moving right along with this second set here. All right, so I also pulled up Populi. That's the interface that students use to talk about things with their instructors, classwork, that kind of stuff for Spirit and Life Seminary. The class I started this week is Applied Theology in Research and Writing. It is a writing-heavy class and research-based class. First week is underway, and the very first assignment is a 2-page formal essay with title page as a autobiography. The professor is Simon Rock. He is in Germany, so that's pretty cool. He definitely has a harder German accent, which is kind of neat. Looks like we want the picture here. Another sticker right there. I like to highlight the stickers. They are nice quality stickers. So yeah, shout out for Lego with quality stickers. Goes right there. All right, so so far it's first week. I'm pretty excited about this class. Professor Rock is definitely hitting the ground running, so to speak, with this class. Right off the bat, we've got a 350 to 500 word essay on the necessity of honesty in research and development. I'll just pull it up right here. So everything is going to be Turabian style, which is, I guess, a research type of way of citing your work. And so we've got the autobiographical essay and article review, discussion topics. So that's what I want right there. This week's discussion was on, pulling it up here. There you go. Recalling, I'm just going to read it while working here. Recall events in your life that caused you to question some of your embedded theological beliefs and positions. What have you had to remove from your theology because of a change in your theological understanding? And then society is influenced by stories posted on social media. And look at us right now. If you're watching this, you are on social media. Go figure. And news networks that are filled with bias and questionable information. That's, excuse me, putting it mildly. With this in mind, how important is accurate research and reporting? On a personal level, what is the value of quality research when it comes to theological formation, preparation as a leader, and decision-making in everyday life? Wow, you only want 300 words? That's it? I mean, you could teach an entire class on question number 2 there, right? But you only want 300 words? That's the limitation there. Wow, honesty is paramount. Absolutely paramount. We should be seeking the truth and finding it. And that, whether we're on social media, whether we are in person, doesn't matter. Okay? If it is not based on facts, if it is not the truth, then pitch it. Okay? There, I summed it up really quickly. But let's be honest here. Christianity is a religion that prides itself on seeking the truth. Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes unto the Father except through me. Those are the words recorded by Jesus. Excuse me. I'm looking for a very specific round piece, and I'm not seeing it. That's irritating. But I do know that these two pieces are going to go together in a later set. So we'll go ahead and start that right now, because I already know that's going to be my top hinge. Oh, I already put it on. Never mind. Look at that. I already put it on. Cool candle. I like this. If you watched the King Magnifico build, the center candle piece was a highlight of that build. If we have time at the end of the stream, I'll point it out again, if I remember as well. All right. So that is pretty cool. We'll set that right there because we have a mini builds going on here. All right. So these theological questions. Well, there's been quite a few, like how do I narrow it down kind of thing of understanding in theology. The great thing about having such an embarrassment of resources when it comes to Christian thought is we have such an embarrassment of resources. There is more historical credence for Christianity than, I don't know, like, it's just mind-boggling. Matter of fact, I was responding earlier today to comment on one of the YouTube shorts, daily shorts that I issued. And I don't want to misrepresent that guy either, so let's pull that up, shall we? There we go. Let's just go ahead and pull this comment up. Don't forget to disclaim that you are reading fiction and this is, quote, for entertainment purposes only, quote, and then there's some face emoji. All right. What makes you think that this is a fiction, that what's recorded in the Protestant Bible is fiction? Now, are there fictional elements? Yeah. Jesus tells fictional stories. We call them parables, right? They're parables. They're fiction. Oh, you got us. All right. But as far as the overall text and narrative is concerned, what would lead you to believe that they're fiction? The historical books are purporting to be, well, just that, historical. So you got to find some evidence that's going to say they're not, since they claim that they are. And you're going to have a really hard time doing that. Okay? And that's what I responded with. What makes you think this work is fictional? Another one here is that's kind of comical. Where is it here? Imagine if World War II were only to be first written about 180 years afterwards in 2125. This one I thought was kind of comical too, because most historians believe that the biographies, the Greco-Roman biographies, are written early, like in the 50s AD originally, and we just have tons of historical evidence to support that. But if we're going to apply that same criteria throughout history, then whoa boy, stand back, because guess what? Julius Caesar, yeah, the oldest manuscripts we've got are from the 9th century, 900 years after the actual event. So, wow. Does that mean Julius Caesar is fiction? I mean, that's the argument being employed here, right? Also, we have about 18 copies to verify authenticity. Christianity, the New Testament, we have over 600 copies before the printing press. So just let that sink in. Like, we have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to archaeological and textual history. All right, real quick. If you were here for the first half, let me get back to that here. Screens back to that one. That's the one I want. I used the wrong sticker for this half. You can see it right in there. They look like little paint splatters. They're actually supposed to be these like curtain flower pieces. Okay. I didn't think it was going to be a big deal to just put them on the other half, so that's what we're doing right there. We're going to put it right there on this half. And lock them into place right there, like so. A lot of times with symmetrical pieces, builds like this, you can get away with that. Excuse me. Get away with that kind of sticker placement. So that's pretty neat. That's upside down for you guys. Sorry about that. Pretty neat build there. So oh, okay. Lost my place in the mapping there. All right. So I just find that kind of comical. Professor Rock, if you're watching this, big shout out to you, man. One, I really like your accent, your German accent. I appreciate you teaching the class in English, so I don't speak German. No sprechen de Deutsch. So I really don't want to go through the entire class with subtitles. So I greatly appreciate the fact that you are teaching the class in English. But I do like your German accent. Not gonna lie, I like the German accent. All right, it sounds really cool, and definitely makes me want to listen to you more. But society, with all that, fake news. It's fake news. Fake news. Out there on social media. Back in the day, they were called tabloids, right? Now we call them social media, news feeds. They're not really news, right? Truth and honesty is paramount. We still need to be seeking the truth, for it's the truth that will set us free. It's the gospel of Jesus Christ. By no one else is there salvation. It's not through the Virgin Mary, okay? Sorry, Catholics, to burst your bubble, but Mary gave birth to God, yep. Through his name's Jesus, yep, Son of God. But Mary was a human being like the rest of us. It's not through Muhammad. Sorry, the sheep herder, child molester, not called Muhammad, the great prophet of Islam. Yep, not him either. Right? Not Gandhi. Not Mahatma Gandhi. It's not Krishna. It's Jesus Christ. Okay? If you don't like it, you're in the wrong stream, all right? I am unapologetic in my faith. As Paul says, always be ready to give a reason for your faith. Christians do not believe in blind faith. We believe in truth. It is not subjective. It is not your truth. It is not my truth. There is only the truth. If it was my truth, we'd call that opinion. It's opinion, not truth. Truth, it doesn't care about your opinions. It is facts. So as we're into our second hour here, if you are tuning in, if you're logging in, please let me know in the comments where you're coming from, where you hail from. And yeah, what brought you here to the live stream? Was it the Lego notification with this cool build? Was it interest in seminary, specifically Spirit and Life Seminary? Why did you why are you watching? Okay, comment, interact. Live streams are meant to be interactive, so I would love to hear from you, the viewer. Granted, I have a lot of fun building these, whether you say hi or not, but the purpose is not just for me to have fun building Lego. I can do that without a camera. I can do that without a microphone. I can do that without a channel, all right? Building the Lego build is simply to have fun, all right? It's a means to an end, all right? Cool cactus, all right? I like the cactus. Quick shout out to the cactus. That's a pretty cool build, right? This kind of reminds me of like one of those workout mats, yoga mat. Kind of reminds me of a yoga mat. All right, looks like we're going to move to the outside here. So real quick, definitely cool pillar design using those spyglass pieces. And the nice little, I think that's a family portrait. I would assume that's a family portrait, mom, daughter, I'm not sure. Based on the picture and the box art. Does Isabela, I'm assuming this is Isabela right here. Does Isabela cut her hair in the movie? Because there's clearly long hair here, and the box clearly shows her with short hair. The box art shows short hair. Also, is this meant to be mom? Maybe this is meant to be mom, because mom looks like she's got long hair, and the other girl looks like she's got short hair. I'm not sure. I'm totally confused with the hair now. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Here, let's put you right there for right now. That's a good spot for you, all right? So, cool build. I like that. You can see how it's going to look like a flower pot when we're done, so that's pretty cool. All right. So let's get these outside pieces put together. Should go pretty quick since I already did it once. So yeah, great opener questions, especially in a research-heavy class. Pretty cool. Looking forward to this class. It's going to be a lot of writing. It's definitely a writing-based class. And if you've ever taken a college writing class, you'll know, yeah, they can be pretty intense. But at the end of the day, I don't have to be right. I don't have to be right. I just have to be pursuing the truth and then aligning my worldview to it. Come on. No, up one. No, over one. There we go. Got it on there. Aligning my worldview to it, okay? So to answer that first question, there's all kinds of things that I used to believe and now I don't. King James only. I grew up in a King James only family. I'm not ashamed to say it. My parents aren't ashamed to say it. They still prefer the King James Bible. They're not King James onlyist anymore, however. But they do prefer it because they're familiar with it, and that's what they learned on, right? But I remember I think I was a freshman in high school. My parents bought me a new King James Bible, and we went and looked at the differences. Now, my personal story is the autobiographical essay, right? So I'm going to spend the next 45 minutes finishing this build set and talking about my story. All right, my story to Christianity. I grew up in a Christian home. I did. My parents were and still are devout Christians. That did not make me one. That just made me a very knowledgeable non-Christian. Okay, I was not a Christian growing up. I put on a good show. I knew how to play church, but I was not a Christian. I did not have a relationship with Jesus Christ. I thought very much like these commenters on YouTube that it was a bunch of fairy tales that you tell children, right? However, my parents were very intentional on instilling in me a desire to seek the truth. Find the truth. So, I set about one day just that, seeking the truth. I wanted to disprove the claims of Christianity. That's it. Many have done that before me, and many will after me. But I had to find out what was true for me. For me. I could quote entire books of the Bible when I was younger. Entire books. My parents used to discipline my brothers and I. I'm the youngest. And they, when we were little, would discipline when I would get in trouble. I would write entire pages out of the King James Bible. And out of the Merriam-Webster's dictionary. And I forgot which thesaurus my mom had a habit of picking up, but it was a popular thesaurus. And then also the Encyclopedia Britannica, entire pages. At the time, it seemed random. I don't know if it was random now or not, or if my mom was intentional on where we were copying pages from, but we were copying pages, all right? So, I became very knowledgeable on the Christian Bible, specifically the King James Protestant printing, translation. And guess what? That did not make me a Christian. It just meant I was a very intelligent or well-educated or versed non-Christian. Then when I got a little older, and that was no longer effective for discipline, they started paying me. Yep, my parents bribed me to memorize the Bible. Specifically, got paid $10 for 10 verses memorized in sequence. Yeah. $10, $10. And you know what? I was a greedy teenager, young teenager. So I memorized Bible passages for the $10. But there's an old saying, the Holy Spirit cannot bring it to your remembrance if it was never remembered to start with. And that was my parents' goal. And for that, they were successful. They were successful. Hey, look at that. This one actually shows an orange flower. That's cool. That is the first little orange flower piece in the entire printing. The rest show in pink. That one shows orange. That's cool. All right, so back to my story. All right. There, I dropped another one. What is that, 3, 4? All right, so I was pretty greedy. I memorized a lot of scripture. But I had no interest in actually being a Christian. Because here's what makes a Christian a Christian. Discipleship. Are you a disciple of Jesus Christ? You can know him. You can know all about him. The historical man, Jesus of Nazareth. You can study him till you're blue in the face. But without taking what he taught and putting it into practice, accepting that salvation, those claims, there is no... You're not a Christian. By definition, you are Christ-like, Christian. You follow Christ. And my real search, my real transition, if you will, was in a ethics class that I took at Iowa State University. The ethics professor there had a survey at the beginning of his class. It was anonymous, where he asked various things about people's backgrounds. There was a Hindu in class, there was 2 Christians in the class, and there were several non-religious people. I was in the non-religious category. Okay? However, this professor, by the end of class, assumed I was one of the Christians by the how I discussed and debated in class. Okay? After our final exam, another young man who I got to know well in class and I were lively in class, and we debated, and it was a discussion type class. Oh, hey, we are at another bag. So look at that. We got a few more pieces here. So we'll set those off. All right, let's talk about this build set so far. Minifigure is what it is. So what do you guys think? Is it looking like a flower pot? I think it's looking like a flower pot. I really like it so far. I do like the interior. That is a pretty cool interior. Yeah, so cool. Let's go ahead, leave that open, and get bag 3. And we are, look at that, right off the get-go. All right. Actually, we're going to be building on this, so we'll put it right there. All right. So back to this ethics class, right? By the end of the class, he was convinced I was one of those two Christians, right? And he was an atheist, a devout atheist. He was a devout, outspoken atheist. He firmly believed that ethics was relative. He believed in relativism, and I reject relativism. I think it's a bunch of hogwash nonsense. Because in the relativistic view, if one person, all it takes is one person to believe something is legit and acceptable, and everybody else must accept it. And that's just hogwash nonsense. So, my buddy and I, we went up to him after class, after the final, to discuss our grade. We were happy with our grade. We just wanted to further discuss it. And he was convinced that I was the other Christian. Now, my buddy, he was a devout Christian. He was outspoken in his Christian faith. He definitely took that give reason for your belief seriously. And he was not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I don't remember his name. It's been many years. I sincerely hope and desire that he is still a devout Christian, because he was unashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And everybody knew it. So, back to... so there's no question there, right? Well, with my... being a... I was an agnostic, I guess you could say. I believe there was some higher power out there. To claim otherwise is just stupid. So I wasn't an atheist. But, like I said, I was not a devout Christian. I was not even a closet Christian. I wasn't a Christian at all. So we're talking to him, and he says, hey, I don't normally ask students after class, but since you're no longer in class, are you the two... I mean, we all knew that there were two Christians in class. And I'm pretty sure everybody else in class assumed, like the professor, I was the other guy. But I wasn't. But I wasn't. And he asked, and I told him. I said, no, I'm not a Christian. He goes, you have to be the other Christian. You gotta be lying right now. You have to be the other Christian. And I was like, what makes you think I have to be anything? I don't have to be anything. Right? I don't have to be anything. And he said, I asked him, I said, what makes you think I'm a Christian? And he said, because you talk like them. You argue like them. I've been a professor at this university for decades. And I've asked this class every time. That question every time. You talk like a Christian. You argue like a Christian. You debate like a devout Christian. You have to be a Christian. And now you're claiming you're not? You're a liar. Why do you say you're not a Christian? And I looked at him, and very, very succinctly, I looked him square in the eye and I said, because I am not a disciple of Jesus Christ. I do not follow his teachings. I know his teachings. I know what he taught. And I am not a Christian because I'm not his disciple. Even Satan knows the word of God. But he is not a disciple of Jesus. And he looked at me square in the eyes and he says, then he goes, and as an atheist, then I would say you should probably change your life, make different life choices. And we walked out of his room, out of his office. So if you're on the fence, there is no such thing as a social Christian or a closet Christian. You either are a Christian or you're not. You are either a Christian or you're not. put that in the wrong spot. Alright, we'll change it. Modify the plan here. It's alright. Not a big deal. There we go. So either you are a Christian or you're not. You can be the most knowledgeable person in the world when it comes to the Bible. There are numerous famous theologians who are not Christians who know the Bible very, very well. They studied their entire lives, but they are not Christians because they're not disciples of Jesus. They don't practice what they know. So ask yourself today, what are you? What are you? Did you just log in for the fun Lego build? Or are you here for sound theology? If you are just now tuning in, we've been going now for almost an hour and a half building this Lego set. It is the Isabela Flowerpot. Excuse me. Isabela Flowerpot, Lego Disney Encanto movie tie-in. We've got the pot itself built right there. Okay. Got the pot built right there. It's pretty cool. I do like the interior. And now we're building up the flowers. So if you are just now tuning in or you've been watching, go ahead. Let me know in the comments. Where are you from? What brought you to this live stream? Why are you watching? All that good stuff. Let's get that conversation going in the comment section. Love to hear from you. This channel is meant to be supplemental for Christians and non-Christians alike. I discuss theology and seminary while building with Legos, building Lego sets. So yeah, if you're watching, it looks like we got a few people watching now. Again, I know viewers come and go during these live streams, so I get it. But hit up the comments. Let me know what's going on in your life. What are you interested in? Are you interested in the Lego side of this? Are you interested in the seminary side? You know, let's talk. I think this is going to be one of the bigger flowers, it looks like. If you have seen the botanical sets, this definitely looks like one of those. Some of those are pretty cool. Some of those botanical sets are pretty neat. They're definitely not my go-to, though, I will say. They're not my go-to type of build, but they can look pretty cool. So, oh, excuse me. All right, let's see here. This is going to go in on that one right there. So we do have a couple people watching. Also, if you have seen the movie Encanto, go ahead, comment on that, because I have not. I have no movie reference for this whatsoever. It is a pretty fun build. I'm not going to shy away from it. I am enjoying the build. There are definitely some techniques and features I like about it. This particular set is 641 pieces. It is rated 9+, so 9 years and up. So it's got some more of the type of setup. It's a little more difficult than your lower age groups, but it's a mid-range type of build as far as difficulty is concerned. It's more of your mid-range. Also, if you are watching, let me know if the camera view is good for you. It's hard for me to monitor it and build at the same time. So let me know if this is a good view of the actual process and techniques. Excuse me. These little cupcake top pieces have been repurposed to be little flower buds, so that's pretty cool. Excuse me. So like with any new Lego build, sometimes it takes a little bit of getting acclimated to the way they are featured, like what techniques are being used and employed. But overall, definitely liking the build. The second half of any build usually goes faster than the first half, simply because of those learning curve elements. So as you can see, that first one took me a little bit longer than the most recent. Oh, excuse me. A little frog in my throat on the second half of this stream. So as we've got a whole nother bag, by the way, to be building with. So I'm not sure what's going to be in the other bag. Is that a frog? That's a frog. Look at that. That's a cute little frog. Oh, excuse me. That's a cute little frog. Oh, yeah. So back to my story. All right. I didn't really do anything with Christianity. I mulled it over, and it definitely, like, what that professor said really stuck with me. But it wasn't until later. Oh, that goes. Oh, I did that wrong. Okay, we'll move that. That's not a big deal. That's pretty cool, like that. See what I mean by techniques? The instructions are not always super clear because they are expecting the builder to already have a basic understanding of techniques like that. So that's cool. All right, so back to my story. So then about a year goes by. I get a phone call out of the blue from a young lady who I grew up with as a teenager. I hadn't spoken to her for about 3 years at all. She got my phone number from my brother. She called me out of the blue. I told her I'd go to this youth convention. Long story short, I had no intentions of going. I had every intention of not going. I was kind of a jerk. Okay. I told her I'd go, but I didn't want to go, so you know how that can go. Yeah, I was kind of a jerk, right? But I ended up that morning deciding to actually go. Or that evening. I ended up showing up late, 2 hours late to this church for this youth convention, youth retreat weekend. I had been to this church hundreds of times, right? But for some reason, I showed up late. Very, very late. I need that piece. There we go. And that piece right there. There we go for our froggers. So I end up showing up very, very late. And pretty much almost everybody had left. I walk in. I'm like, I'm so sorry I'm late. Right? She is mad. You stood me up. What do you mean you got lost? We're right off the highway. Like, yeah, she was not buying it. But it was legitimately true. I did get lost. I ending up on the complete opposite end of town. It was bad. It was bad. What in the world am I building? Sure. Okay. All right, so as I was saying, it was bad. So the next day, I got there about 2 hours early, and it was about a 2 hour drive for me because I wanted to ensure I wasn't late again. And while I'm sitting in the parking lot, the pastor's wife comes out. Pastor and his wife lived above the church, at that church, and they come out. She comes out. She goes, "Hey, we're going to be having an activity." I found out later that she thought I was a homeless bum, and didn't recognize me and thought I was a homeless guy. Shout out to Margaret. All right, Margaret Phelps, if you are watching this, shout out to Bob and Margaret Phelps. You guys are great people. I really hope you are still following God and being ambassadors of Christ, because you were very influential in my life. All right, big shout out to you. All right, may God bless you in all that you do. All right, and that day you had a profound impact on me, even though you thought I was a homeless kid, homeless bum. So she thought I was homeless, like I said, and you make two of those. Thought I was homeless, right? So after she went back inside, I prayed, and my prayer was this: God, if you can hear me, if you're real, if you're actually there, and not, hogwash, let me know right now. And this is how you're going to let me know. I'm missing a piece, by the way, in case you're wondering what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this white piece right here. I need another one to finish this off. So I can go ahead and finish making the rest of this here. But I am going to need that piece. Okay, so. There it is. Found it. Sometimes when you think you're missing a piece, just keep going and it will turn up. There we go. Perfect. Excuse me. Much better. So back to what I said, right? So I said, God, I know of you. I can quote scripture like the Son of God, but you've never been real in my life. If you are real, I want you to let me know right now. Here's the test. That young lady who invited me here, who's mad at me, thinks I stood her up. She is going to be the first and only person to invite me inside. This before anyone else is there. No one else is there. Pastor, the Phelps, they're there because they live there, but Margaret went back inside, right? So I said, that's the way it's going to be. If you are real, that's what's going to happen. You're going to, through divine providence, going to have her be the first and only person to invite me inside. If anybody else invites me inside, nope, we're out. I'm done. Right? Anybody else does, I'm out. It has to be her, and she has to be the only one. Well, over the next 2 hours, the parking lot started to fill up, like you would expect, right? That parking lot filled up. And it filled up. And starting time approached. Starting time approached, right? Well, guess what? People parked right next to me, got out of their cars, didn't say a word. This church I knew was known for their hospitality. They were known for inviting people inside. They were known for talking to strangers. And none of them said hi to me. I tried to make it easy. I had my windows rolled down. Didn't even recline my seat. Not a single one said hi. Let that sink in. I'd been to this church hundreds of times growing up. Now, some of you may be saying, that's horrible. That is terrible, right? But what was my prayer, my petition, my challenge to this almighty God? That lady, that young lady had to be the only one, right? First and only. I'll tell you what happens after we're open up bag 4, but there's our extra pieces from bag 3. Put them with the rest of them, and let's review real quick. We got 15-ish minutes left, so pretty cool build so far. What do you guys think? What do you think? Opening up, that is a pretty neat build. I'm not gonna lie. Usually, I'm not very thrilled with the whole botanical type build sets, but this looks pretty cool. Yeah. It's fun to build so far. Definitely enjoying it so far. I like the playability features so far. Yeah. Let's keep going. We'll do a full review at the end of the stream. So let's set that off to the side. Put that back up. There we go. If you are tuning in, bag 4 is the final bag of this build. And it's turning out to be a pretty cool build. All right, let's get right into it. And back to my story of Christian conversion, if you will. When I made a point to become a Christian, a disciple of Jesus Christ, and seek the truth, the way, the life. So, one by one, parking lot filled up at that church. By the way, that church is still in operation today. If you are in the if you are in the Rolling Hills district off of Highway 30 in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, shout out to Westdale Community Church. I believe Pastor Jeff and Tammy Bell are still there. Stop in, say hi. They are good people. At least, you know, it's been over a decade since I've been there. I'm in Western Pennsylvania now in the Butler County area. But shout out to them. If you're in that area, say hi and let them know you're there. You can feel free and tell them Timothy Holt sent you there. Said if they were in the area to stop in, say hi. They're good people. And but at the time, Bob Phelps was the pastor, Pastor Phelps, and Margaret, his wife. Now, remember I said, you know, parking lot got full. It got full. It was packed. Packed. And not a single person said hi to me. Not a single person in this church known for their hospitality said hi. God was answering my prayer. And at the time, I was getting frustrated and too dumb to see it. 5 minutes until start time, because that was the other criteria. It had to be before it started. If it had already started, all bets were off. Deal was done. Had to be before it started. And by the way, this young lady, she was known to be late. She was late to everything. I knew that too, by the way. She was known to be late. That's why I made a challenge for God. If he's an almighty God, if he's all powerful, he knows everything. It should be small fry, right? If his son Jesus Christ rose from the dead, surely he could answer this prayer. 5 minutes beforehand, she pulls in front of me. Double park, right? Right? So I'm parking in the spaces. They go like this, right? She pulls up like that. Blocks me in. Rolls down her window. Yells out her window. What are you doing out here? You should go inside. And then she drives off and parks and walks inside. Doesn't say anything else to me. I sit there stunned. Absolutely stunned in disbelief. I'm like, what just happened? Right? At first, I'm arguing with God. A bad idea, by the way. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I'm arguing with God. Nope, that did not just happen. I was expecting, God to answer that prayer with, hey, are you coming inside? You should come inside. Nice, polite, respectful, right? No, not even close. Right? Oh, that's interesting. Right? Not even close to respectful. She was mad. She had every right to be mad. She was absolutely mad. She thought I stood her up the night before, regardless of my excuse. But did God answer my prayer? Was she the first one to invite me inside? Yep. Margaret didn't invite me inside. She just informed me that they had something going on and that if I wasn't going to be in attendance, I'd need to leave. Did the people who parked literally right next to me invite me inside? Nope. I'm assuming they assumed I was going to go inside on my own. Why else would I be there, right? But she invited me inside. I walked inside that day, sat in the very back, with all intentions of to find everything critical with that sermon, that message, the whole thing. Resistant. But that's not what happened. I can't tell you who was the speaker. I can't tell you what they talked about. Honestly, I don't even think I paid any attention to it. I was wrestling with God in my own mind. And then I went up to the altar and knelt down to pray. And I said, God, you answered my prayer, but I'm going to make it abundantly clear. I have no intentions of being your disciple. But I've dedicated my life to seek the truth. So you better answer me now, or I'm out. I'm done. I'm not going to play church. I'm not going to live a double life. I'm not going to be a Sunday Christian. It's either all or nothing. If you call me right now, I have to hear it for myself. I have to be like Paul, see it with my own eyes, hear it with my own ears. And I felt a hand on my shoulder. Now, if you've ever been to a church like Westdale, altar calls are a thing. People pray kind of funny, right? And get pretty emotional. But this wasn't one of those type of services. I didn't look around. My eyes was closed. It was just me and God as far as I was concerned. And I felt a hand on my shoulder and a whisper in my ear. And the whisper in my ear was very simple. If you want to know the truth, why are you resisting the truth? Maybe you need to make better life choices. I instantly opened my eyes and turned around to see who was talking to me. There was other people praying. There was people praying for those people. But I was sitting there, kneeling actually, by myself. There was no one there. No one was praying for me. Nobody even appeared to even acknowledge that I was there, let alone stop what they were doing to pray for me. Now, some people might find that odd. Right? But it's true. Found out later that another man, why isn't that attaching? That is not attaching. Oh, that's frustrating. Oh. Okay. Another individual in the church named Jim Hiles. Shout out, Jim. If you're watching this, if you ever see this, Jim, thank you for listening and honoring God. Jim Hiles. Found out later, Jim Hiles heard God speak to him and say, go talk to that man and tell him, make better life choices, and walk away. He did. He listened. He followed the leading of the Holy Spirit. He said those words, and then he walked away. And I don't know if I ever told him my story or not. I may have. Later, I became the children's pastor at that church a few years later, and was children's pastor for quite some time. I would love to say that that young lady is following God and is a disciple of Jesus Christ. I would love to. Trust me. I would love to be able to report that that young lady who invited me inside that day dedicated her life to Jesus Christ. But the truth is, she didn't. She put on a show. She did what many do and put on a show. For several years, she convinced people that she was a Christian, that she was a disciple of Jesus. But the truth is, she wasn't. And that breaks my heart, because I wish she was sincere. I wish she followed Christ with all my heart. I do. But she didn't. You see, God uses everyone for his purpose, even when we don't believe so. He will use people we least expect. Even when we don't believe so. It's a pretty cool cactus, by the way. That is a cool cactus. I like that. She would turn her back completely on Christianity. And you know what? I think that's a shame. What? I'm right at 2 hours. Okay. All right, well, I'm almost done. My lovely wife just walked in and has looked at the clock, and we have an 8-month-old who is ready for bed. All right, I am almost done with this. All right, so I'm going to finish this up off camera, and then we will review it later in the week as a special thing. We are at 2 hours, so if you are watching, thank you. I appreciate you logging in and watching, and I will finish this off camera and do a short video reviewing the entire build. We do have a little bit buffed, but if you are around any toddlers, you know bedtime's important. So, and I will finish my story later with that. So there we are. Thank you. May God bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and give you peace. And big shout out to my lovely wife for her compassion, understanding, and support. God bless you. All right, well, hello, people. So, sorry about that interruption last night with my son. I lost track of time, got started a little late. But this is the build, Isabela's Flowerpot. Out of all of them so far, you can see behind me, we've got the camcorder, King Magnifico's castle, Palace of Agrabah right there, and down here is, move that out of the way for you, the Super Mario Dora's Sunken Ship set. Out of all of them so far, I'm going to say this is probably my favorite one to build. Might not be have the most play features, but as far as challenging and build technique is concerned, I really like it. Yeah, this was super fun to build. And look at some of these features. We got some repurposed frogs here for the, what is that, the stamen, I think it is, part of the flower right there, which is cool. There's even a little yellow butterfly right there. Super cool. Oh, whoops. Put that back. Really cool flower features. Definitely like them. Again, I have no contextual movie context for this build. I have not seen Encanto, so I can't tell you what it's about. I don't know. I'm assuming it's about a daughter and a mother. But I can say there must be some type of transition that happens in the movie with this character, because the minifigure has black flowing hair, but the box art has very short hair. So interesting there. Overall, get a good look at that. That is a beautiful Lego build. So yeah, that was super fun. I really liked it. And just to conclude, what I was talking about with my story coming to Christianity, it's very simple. The young lady who led me, who invited me in that day, left the Christian faith several years later entirely. And if that does not break your heart, then maybe you need to reevaluate your heart with Christ, because it is his desire that none should perish, but all come to Christ, all come to everlasting life through him, forgiveness and redemption of sins. So that's why it breaks my heart. It doesn't break my heart because of romance or anything like that. It's because I want everyone to know Jesus. That is the purpose of this channel, is to help equip believers, discipleship as a supplemental to your weekly engagements and in-person time, but also to evangelize and reach more people for the cause of Christ. You see, Christ can use non-Christians, sinners, dirtbags, to get you to him. And sometimes we are those dirtbags. So if you don't know Jesus Christ right now, I'd encourage you to know him. Plug into a local church that teaches from the Bible. And don't take my word for anything Scripture has to say. Look it up, read it for yourself, and may God bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and give you peace. I'm Timothy Holt with 90 and Out. This is Building for the Kingdom, one brick at a time.